Squid Game is filled with desperate players looking for a way to get out of their debt, and this leads many to doing evil things, from brutally murdering players to purposely sabotaging their chances of victory. Today, I'll be going over the most evil characters and moments in Squid Game, starting with one of the less evil, yet still super disturbing characters, the salesman. We first meet him in Season 1, Episode 1, Red Light, Green Light, when he approaches Gi-hun in the subway. He begins telling Gi-hun about a great opportunity when Gi-hun pulls out his lighter gun, causing the salesman to lose his cool.
I come from a very long line of Buddhists, so find another guy to preach to.
Would you like to play a game with me?
The salesman shows Gi-hun his briefcase, asking to play a few rounds of dakji. He tells Gi-hun that each time Gi-hun wins, he will get 100,000 won. And each time Gi-hun loses, he pays the salesman 100,000 won. Gi-hun loses the first round, and the salesman suggests using his body to pay.
How about you use your body to pay?
A what?
He slaps Gi-hun across the face and tells him he takes 100,000 won off per slap. The game continues until Gi-hun wins. Once he wins, the salesman gives him a card with contact information to become a permanent participant in the games. Throughout the games he played with Gi-hun, we can see that he has a sadistic nature, accepting slaps as a payment, giving him freaky smiles, and being relaxed in this super weird situation. However, we wouldn't see the salesman again until the end of Season 1, where he's recruiting another player. He sees Gi-hun and smiles at him creepily, and as Gi-hun rushes towards him, he gets in a train and stares at Gi-hun as the train begins to leave. That's the last time we see him until Season 2, Episode 1, Bread and Lottery. After the men Gi-hun hired to track down the salesman find him, they follow him to find out where he's going. They see him enter a shop and buy 100 pieces of bread, along with 100 lottery tickets. He then goes to a park and holds them in front of a clueless hobo. The man goes to take them, but the salesman puts them away and tells him to pick one.
You can only choose one. Now it's all up to you to choose which one you want.
The salesman goes to each and every homeless person in the park, giving them the same choice. After giving each of them the choice, he throws all the bread on the floor and crushes it, which is definitely one of the most evil things he's doing as it wastes perfectly good food. Gi-hun's men follow him to an alley before they're knocked out by him.
Go ahead! Asshole!
When they wake up, they're strapped in chairs facing each other and are told they're playing rock, paper, scissors, -1, but if they lose, they might get shot in the head.
We'll play rock, paper, scissors -1. But if you lose, here's what happens. Russian roulette.
The salesman ends up eliminating one of Gi-hun's men as he didn't take out one of his hands out of the game, leading him to be disqualified.
Mr. Kim, you didn't take back one of your hands. Disqualified.
This is undoubtedly one of the most evil things that could happen outside of the actual games in the show, and I think this makes the salesman one of the most evil characters, but it only gets worse from here. In Season 2, we meet Im Jong-dae, better known as Player 100. He's an angry old guy who has 10 billion won worth of debt. Throughout his screen time, it's clear to us that he's greedy and will force others to play so they die and the prize money increases.
What does 70 million do for us, huh? That chump change won't do a damn thing! That's f***ing right!
This makes it clear that he's quite an evil man, valuing more money over human lives. When Gi-hun is trying to help people, Im Jong-dae is quick to judge and questions him for wanting to leave the games early. After the six-legged pentathlon, which Im Jong-dae made it through, he saw that many other players made it through, but he was also disappointed because the prize money barely increased.
What? More of these assholes made it through?
During an argument between the people that want to stay and leave, Im Jong-dae tells them once all the people that want to leave kick the bucket, then the people that voted to stay can happily leave with 800 million won each. This shows his clear lack of value towards other people, and I believe he deserves the spot on the list. While he didn't directly kill anyone, his actions of manipulating people to stay definitely got many people killed, solidifying him at this spot on the list. But in my opinion, Jong-dae is far from the most evil character. Namgyu, Thanos' friend, was far more evil in my opinion. Like Im Jong-dae, Namgyu didn't try to hide the fact that he wanted to play more so people would die and the prize money would increase. This gives us the first reason for him being evil, which is the fact that he didn't care about others' well-being and just wanted more money. Not only that, but throughout Season 2, Namgyu would bully Min-soo. When they were playing Mingle, they're forced to leave one of their teammates, Young-soo, to get into the room. Min-soo asks Namgyu if Young-soo was alive, and the response he got was horrid.
Hey dude, can you see what happened to Kyung-soo?
Don't call me dude, we're not friends, got it?
Despite how close they are to death, Namgyu is still horrible to Min-soo and tells them they'll never be friends or equals. After this, when the fight in the bathroom broke out, Namgyu pulls out the fork out of Thanos' neck and uses it to repeatedly stab another player, leading to his death. Not long after this, the players are split between people that want to stay and leave. The people that want to stay plan to attack those who want to leave, and Namgyu would participate in this. During the nighttime attack, he would come after Se-mi because she switched her vote and was previously siding with Min-soo, who Namgyu did not like. When he attacked her, he managed to get the upper hand and unfortunately killed her in cold blood. These moments show just how evil Namgyu was, not caring for the lives of other players at all, or even Thanos, who he seemed to be friends with. Not only that, he would also threaten players to stay in the games. I believe he could be considered much more evil than some of the people on this list due to his psychopathic nature, but the actions of the next players get so much worse, from forcing people to potentially kill themselves to slaughtering dozens. While Namgyu was quite evil, I believe harvesting organs from people to rig games is much worse. Byung-gi, also known as Player 111, was a doctor in Season 1 who secretly worked with corrupt guards to harvest organs from eliminated players in exchange for game information. His actions were some of the most evil in the series. Byung-gi didn't just remove organs from the dead, he and the guards also harvested some still-breathing players, leading them to have a slow and painful death. His participation in this showed his complete lack of care for human life. In exchange for his services, Byung-gi would receive unfair advantages, like knowing what the next challenge would be. We see this in Season 1, Episode 3, The Man with the Umbrella, when he receives a small pink note in his breakfast. This means he could prepare for challenges, while others went in with no idea of what was to come, making it completely unfair for the other players. But eventually, Byung-gi got what he deserved, and in Season 1, Episode 5, A Fair World, he was confronted by the frontman and was killed by a guard.
You ruined the most important aspect of this place. Equality.
Byung-gi was a different kind of villain compared to the previous people on the list. His evil came from not caring about the cost of winning. Similar to the next person who forced people to play and formed a gang, Jang Dok-soo was a ruthless gangster and one of the most violent players in Squid Game Season 1. He was known for his ruthlessness and willingness to kill without hesitation, which happens many times. First of all, in Season 1, Episode 4, Stick to the Team, after stealing people's food, Dok-soo was approached by one of the men who wanted him to make up for it. Dok-soo didn't waste any time before knocking him to the ground and beating him to death over food.
That's my food you just ate! Why'd you break it, you jerk? How's this, huh? Learn to share! Is it that hard?
This was the first time we saw a glimpse of Dok-soo's truly evil side. After that, he would get rid of one of his gang members, Han Min-yo, without any hesitation. Dok-soo was informed by Player 111, the doctor, that the next game required strength. This led Dok-soo to remove weaker players in favor of a team made up of the strongest men. While this isn't too evil on its own, Dok-soo was also abusing information which gave him and his gang an unfair advantage. But he ends up getting way worse. In the same episode, he's the main reason behind the nighttime brawl that took place and killed many of the people. Along with his constant harassment of Se-byuk, even strangling her in Season 1, Episode 4, Dok-soo would also force people to go in front of him on the glass bridge.
You want to wind up dead, buddy? Get that asshole to stop praying.
In Season 1, Episode 7, VIPs, when the first player is taking too long, Dok-soo threatens him and tells him to hurry up.
Take your step now, or I'll push your ass.
As the players in front of him all die, it comes to his turn, but he decides he doesn't want to go.
Anyone want to get across? Well, you better go first then!
Dok-soo says if they want to go so bad, they can go in front of him. Not long after, Han Min-yo would end up behind him, pretending she was down to go, and she was, but not how he thought. Choi Soo-bong, better known as Thanos, entered the games as a desperate rapper who lost everything to a cryptocurrency scam from another contestant. But we are very quick to see his dark side. In Season 2, Episode 3, unlike most players who were terrified after people were gunned down in front of them, Thanos found it amusing. To ensure his own survival, he used fellow players as human shields, pushing them forward to test the game's mechanics. Rather than being disturbed by the deaths around him, he laughed, cheered, and even danced during the game, giving us an idea of just how evil he is. But he gets so much worse as time goes on. We see how he held a grudge against Myung-hee, the player who was a crypto trader and said to invest in a coin. After Thanos invested in the coin, it crashed, causing him to lose his money. He takes out his anger on Myung-hee repeatedly. He shoves food in his face, makes fun of him, and even assaults him outside of the games. In Season 2, Episode 6, Thanos would begin arguing with Myung-hee in the toilets because he tried to stick up for Min-soo.
Leave him alone.
The O-gang would back Thanos, and the X-gang would back Myung-hee, leading to a fight that killed numerous people. Yet, that wasn't the worst thing he did. Despite killing many people there, Thanos was much more evil when he discarded his teammates for Mingle earlier in the episode. When Thanos' group had too many players, he made his teammates play rock, paper, scissors, and when one person lost, he didn't hesitate to mercilessly kick them away. While Thanos was super evil and one of the most brutal characters, the list only gets worse from here. While the players of Squid Game were forced into a desperate fight for survival, the VIPs watched over them. While these VIPs didn't participate in the games, they watched them purely for their own entertainment. Watching people die was nothing more than entertainment for them, which is why they're so high on this list. In Season 1 Episode 7, VIPs were introduced to them.
The VIPs will arrive soon.
They arrive wearing animal masks and are taken to the viewing room. The challenge they got to watch is Glass Bridge. While they're watching it, they mock the contestants as well as place bets on who will win.
Put a lot of money on that kid to win!
Along with that, they're funding the games, which is about as evil as it gets since they're the reason thousands of people are dying. Unfortunately, the VIPs aren't the most evil characters on this list. The frontman, Hwang In-ho, is not far ahead of their level of evil, but I believe he deserves this spot on this list due to his actions. After winning the games, In-ho would go back to host them, and we could easily see why he won. In Season 1 Episode 5, A Fair World, In-ho would find out that some of his guards were giving a player information in exchange for him harvesting eliminated players' organs. When In-ho caught the guard and the player arguing, he didn't hesitate to kill the guard. This moment was the first of many that showed us how ruthless he was. In Season 2, In-ho participates in the games, like Nam in Season 1, and this lets us see many darker moments. In Season 2, Episode 6, during a round of Mingle, the speaker calls out two players. Jung-bae and In-ho run into a room together, not knowing there's another person in there. The person tells them he's not leaving, and In-ho doesn't hesitate to choke him out and snap his neck. If that wasn't evil enough, the next person on the list is about as evil as you can get. While many people in Squid Game committed evil acts, none were as bad as Nam. Nam was introduced as a frail old man with a brain tumor in Season 1 Episode 1, Red Light, Green Light. Gi-hun takes a liking to him and helps him out. In Season 1 Episode 2, after the players left the games, Nam sees Gi-hun at a store. The two share food and drink whilst they discuss the games. Nam deceives Gi-hun and convinces him that the torture outside the games is worse than in them.
Out here, that torture is worse.
This was the key thing that led Gi-hun to go back in. Not only that, but Nam actually created the games. In Season 1 Episode 9, we found out that he was the mastermind behind everything. He and his fellow elites created Squid Game out of boredom. Nam even flat out admitted he didn't see human life as valuable, and that money was no longer fun once he had everything. Nam's use of people as entertainment and creation of the games that killed potentially thousands of people was about as evil as it gets from the show.